let's go to the next game. Ködem, what about the teams?
All right, the teams here. So we have xkv playing again for something wicked this way comes. He's the second player from that team that we're looking at today. And on the opponent side, VicPez is playing for the Castle Kings.
Castle Kings. Nice one, nice one.
And in this one, here the match score is, here the match was already decided. The black players team was already had 4.5 points. So really this game was just for the good show.
Just for fun. Okay. This position we already had in the first game, I think, yes?
Yes.
Okay, in the first game, or on board 8, bishop c4 was played. I also pointed out that there's also bishop b5, but let's not talk too much about that. We already did it. So let's watch at the game. d4 was played. Maybe is it the main line or one of the main lines?
Yes.
So okay, knight takes d4. Maybe okay, knight d5 leads to a very dubious opening where white's losing a piece for getting some attack, but I just wanted to say that's just in blitz games you get this sometimes. But let's look at the game, at the serious chess. Takes bishop d3. That's the main line. And now castle was played. Castle kingside. C takes d5 is, I think, the main line.
Yes, but with castle kingside, it's, I think, only the move order.
Yeah, and here you can also take on d5. The thing is that, okay, there's also a line that you can take here, but after rook e8 checks, white gets in some trouble, and more often there's just played to castle, and now the main move is c takes d5, but bishop g4 leads to a move to a position that's been played in present very often. I think
we both had it in our blitz games like every time.
Yeah. So that's not a new move or a mistake or something like that. It's not just the main line. Let's just look at some moves in the main line. C takes d5, queen f3, c6. And normally, okay, black can play here, bishop g4, so white decides to play h3. These are some positions that really often played. You really see this one very often in games. But played in the game, bishop g4, and here there are two moves, f3 and knight e2. Knight e2 was played, so we first look at f3, and this should be a very forced line here. Check, take, and later you take on c6, and this should be equal. White with the bishop pair, therefore the black position is a little bit more active if he can activate his rooks a little bit easier, and also play bishop g6, for example, to get some pressure on the d3 bishop. So, but I think in general we can say that this is equal. Okay, but like I said, bishop e2 was played. If the two of us want to add something, feel free to do this. C takes d5, h3, bishop h5, and c4. c4 also a move that is sometimes played in the main line. let me skip again to this position here, that you sometimes play knight, or after h3 also play, okay, let's do it here, play knight e2, play c4, to attack the center of the black, who with these two pawns has a little advantage in the center here. So okay, I just wanted to point out that c4 in the game is a plan that's very common in this position. Rook e8, queen c2, now bishop g6, and white decides to take and play bishop g5 to activate his bishop on c1. Okay, I don't think that there are a lot of lines that are very interesting here. So you say there are not many tactical options here. So now that's the question, if you want to play d4 or if you want to take. I've analyzed this a little bit. So if you take and play queen d5, for me this was interesting, and this should lead to an equal endgame. For example, if he takes on b4, you can take on e2.
Or maybe on d5.
Yeah, that's the main line. I wanted just to say
Okay.
that you change the bishop on b4 to the knight on e2. Sorry, queen takes b4, and now maybe play knight e4 if he doesn't take. And yes, the pawn structure is a little bit better for white, but the rook on e2 is much more active. So, like Adrian said, I preferred with white to take on d5. Play knight
f5. I said instead of taking on e2, you can take on g5.
Ah, you can take on g5. Ah, okay, I thought you said on d5. Okay, but now I prefer white's position because of the pawn structure here.
Yeah, but okay, I mean, now maybe you landed a pawn, b2.
I play queen a3.
Ah, okay.
Also, yeah, okay, but
I don't know. I feel confident with knight h5, knight f4.
Okay, maybe knight c3 is not
But
the right
okay,
side.
I mean, it should be somehow equal here.
Yeah,
But
I liked in that line. I like the rook on e2 very much.
Yes, of course.
Knight e4, like I said, is an option. g5 still hanging, by the way. So, but okay, this I would say a little bit better for black, but okay.
Yes.
Therefore, I prefer to take on d5, not on b4, and yeah, this should somehow be equal. Maybe black is a little bit better, but
He's a pawn down, but with the
yeah,
rooks on the second rank,
he's gonna win the pawn on b2. That's
yes, but I don't want to take it. I want to play rook c8, c2.
Bishop c5 then. Okay. Probably black should be a little bit better here.
Yes.
So that was the line if you take on c4. So let's watch the game. d4, rook a to d1, and I prefer the other rook to be there, to play rook f to d1. So after c5, a3, your rook is on a1 now and not on f1. So a3 is protected. So after c takes b4, you can take on d4 with the knight, and won't have any problems with somewhere you can take on a3, and you've always got this rook on a1 that's protecting your pawn here. So this position should be, I don't know, better for white, maybe a lot better. But
yes, I would feel confident here with white. The d5, the bishop on d5, I can decide when I want to take on f6.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, somehow this double pawn is weaken.
It's okay. Rook 81 was played, not rook f to d1. And now, like I said, okay, a3 is not that good now. If we play the same line here, maybe somehow, maybe now, he can take on a3 and okay, probably you're gonna win this pawn somewhere, but you rather would have your rook on a1 now. So
I mean, but then you can take instead of knight takes d4, you can take back on d4 and then take on d4.
yeah, but then where's your point? I think this pawn could be.
Yeah, of course, but then I'm not a pawn down.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. But in comparison to the other line that we've watched, here both rooks are active, and in the other line the rook on f1 just doing nothing. Okay. So he played knight f4 instead of a3. Queen d6.
Oh, now it's a really beautiful knight on d3.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe.
But, yeah, okay.
Maybe you'd have some ideas of take and play knight d5.
But after taking on f6, I can take on f4.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And then your bishop is trapped, yes?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
Funny position. Okay, just wanted to point out that maybe there's somewhere an option to. But like you said, the knight on d3 is very nice here. Queen a4 now. Bishop e6. The problem is bishop c7 threatening mate, but bishop f5 should be good for white. Normally you say, okay, the passed pawn is a very good pawn in comparison to this pawn here on b2, but now the knight on d3 is a monster. Protecting or not letting the black pawn.
Is blockading the d pawn.
Yeah, that's the word I was searching for. Thanks. Blockading, and c5 is also under attack, so black has to keep his queen somewhere or his rook. So the knight here is a very strong piece. And the d4 pawn, who's supposed to be a strong pawn, is worthless. Okay, queen a5, so he played bishop b6, bishop f4, queen d7. Also maybe possible to change queens here. But okay, he decided to go queen c2, knight h5, bishop h2. I like that. If you go bishop c1, maybe you'll get some problems on the diagonal to mate him, because now the knight is protecting f4, so you can't go bishop f4 here. So I like the move bishop h2, changing the bishop.
How do we reached this position with the perfect knight on d3?
Yeah, I like the position from white. Simple tactic: if he takes, you can't take the pawn because of two-time taking. Check, and the knight gets lost. So yeah, you can't wrap this pawn on c5. Queen d2. Now changing the rooks. Maybe here queen g5 was possible. Attacking the pawn on c5, releasing the pressure. And now if black tries to cover it, you can go rook e1 and your rook is more active.
Maybe f5 an idea?
Yeah, f5 is an idea, but in general you don't want g6.
Yes, it looks very, very risky, but
Now you can, for example, still play rook e1 if you want.
I mean, I don't want to play rook c6. And rook c6 is, for me, I can't play here rook c6.
Yeah, you're right. So f5 is better than rook c6, but I don't think that this one really helps you.
Yes, I agree. Queen g5 is a very good move.
Thanks. So he decided to play rook e1, knight f4, and now maybe that's already a crucial mistake here. I preferred the position. He took on e6, and me personally preferred the position with here. No, wrong line. Sorry, wrong line. No mistake. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry.
I wanted to say, why do you prefer this with right?
No,
Black has a protected pass pawn.
Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. I was wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think if we go back a few moves, that's a problem with the rook e1 move.
Yeah,
like in general, it's probably not a bad idea to trade them, but here for tactical reasons it allows knight f4. And if you look at the position before that move, then we have a nice knight on d3 with white, and black has a knight on h5, which is pretty much useless.
But okay, here I mean I don't have to play knight f4 immediately. I can take on e1 and then play knight f4.
Yeah, but you can also just play knight f4. I mean, the point is now the knight gets active.
Both cases.
The problem is now the black knight gets active, and then before that white has just a very good position, and after that it's suddenly unclear now.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
White should keep the f4 square cap protected.
Totally right. That's rook e1 was the move. That's maybe a mistake because, like already said, knight f4 activating the knight, very strong move. And now after rook e6, knight takes e6. The knight is on e6 is clearly better than on h5.
Yes.
So now he tried to trade it. Good technique to trade the very good knight on d3, or to try to trade it. White doesn't want to trade, but now it's okay. The position here for white should be good because he's attacking the black king. But for technical reasons, I preferred the idea of black activating his knight, and from the view of the white player, I wouldn't play rook e1. That's in total that if I look at the game, that's one of the main things that you can learn from this game here. Okay. Now let's go to the position here, but after knight e5. And here that's, I think, the last chance for black to keep the game alive with queen b7. Attacking the pawn on g2. Threatening mate. If white plays b3, there's queen takes b2, and this is losing because g2 is still hanging, and white does not have time to play knight takes f7 because black is one move faster. So he should go back to f3, and
now we can play f6 or maybe take on b2.
Oh, take on b2 would be a big mistake because of knight g5 check. And take on f7 and queen h8.
Yes, the next move. And what's with the idea to take on h3? The same, yeah?
Ace where?
Here,
Okay.
take on h3 is the same problem because of king h2.
Okay. The thing is, if you take back, then f3 is hanging and you win a pawn with black. But, oh, no, not like that. After king h2, if you move your knight back, okay, you can also take this pawn. Yes.
Okay, but I'm not mad immediately.
Yes, you are, I think.
Yeah, queen e5.
Ah,
Right.
queen to d5, yes.
Queen
queen to
g5, make next move.
Okay.
So, okay, this is okay for white, but yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, if we look at just at the material on the board, so when you have a queen and a knight, that is a very powerful attacking combination.
Yes.
Because they obviously move very differently, so they can do different roles in the attack, and they just work very nicely together. They are complementing each other very nicely.
Yes.
And it's always difficult to defend against that.
Yeah, you can see this. Both sides is very difficult to defend this. We saw some tactical moments for black here in this line, but also, like pointed out now, many times for white with knight f3. Not f3, knight f3 and knight g5. But okay, black should be safe here with f6, and I prefer black's position here. But it's not that clear. It's not that clear. So knight e5, he played d3, and now knight takes f7, threatening queen h8 mate. So he has to play g5. Taking. Again, knight f7 check. White could repeat moves here, but decides to play for the win, what's obviously a good idea with 2 pawns up and the weak king.
Yeah, I wonder, could white have played h4 instead of playing knight f7?
Yeah, but you don't threatening anything.
You're not threatening anything. Queen h8, there's king g6.
Okay, but that looks dangerous for black, no?
Okay, you can't play d2 because you can't play d2 because it's getting lost. But I think if you go for queen b7 or something like that, again, what do you do?
Probably I still give some checks, but okay, yeah, maybe I don't really get anywhere.
Okay, I think if black gets somehow to some counterplay with these threats, then you sometimes or often just have chances to give some checks, and then it's a draw. How do you say this? Dauerschach?
Yeah, perpetual.
Perpetual, okay. Sorry. But perpetual is just to do the moves again. Is there also a word for?
No, perpetual
check.
Perpetual check is if you keep checking. If you just repeat the moves, it's just a move repetition.
Okay. Okay, then I know this. But in the game, this was well played. Knight g5, threatening queen e8 check. Mate. And in the game, there was g6 played, but there's not a move that's...
Marco,
yes?
I have to say I like the move king f8 instead of g6. I like this move.
If
because
you take...
you can't take on f4 because I take back, and after knight e6 takes on f4, I have d2 and you
Where
can't
do you go? Where do you go?
Egal.
Egal, okay.
They're not there.
King e7 not working. You said it. You don't care. You said you don't care. Okay, yeah, but if you go...
Yeah, just go to g8, right?
Yeah, g8 or everything. instead of
E8, F7.
G2. So you can't do that, but I think you can.
I mean, then King F8 is maybe a okay. I mean, Queen F5, but then I can go back to G8.
Oh, G8, then that's Queen H7.
Okay, yes, I don't want to go to G8. Then maybe to E8.
Okay. Yeah, let's look here. If I okay, yeah, I like that idea. But I think I could also just play knight F3 and pretend okay, I'm 2 pawns up, so nothing's gonna happen here.
Okay, but I mean against this deep pawn
Yeah, okay. But the knight on F4 has to be protected.
You have to be careful. Yes, of course, but you have to be careful.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. But in the game after G6?
G6 was played, and now there's a forced winning line. Yeah, knight E4. And okay, forced winning line says if you don't do anything, then I'm just 2 pawns up. Maybe G3 is a threat here. If you take, I play King G2. And you can't go for the attack because you're getting mated. And yeah. Okay, I think this game should end in some moves here. But instead he played Queen E1. Probably to...
Looks a little bit passive to me.
It's very passive because of knight E2 check. And now your queen, what does she do here? Sorry. That's Queen E5, threatening knight G3 check. And the knight is hanging, for example, after knight F3, there's knight G3 check. That's very nice, I like that. Because of takes, and D2. And the pawn is promoting. So instead he played Queen D2. Queen D4, C4 is hanging. And now, if you compare 5 moves earlier, the position here, right has 2 pawns, has 2 pawns up, has active pieces, and 5 moves later, there's queen takes c4, you're just 1 pawn up. The black king somehow is safe now. I didn't know how to manage this one, but okay. And yeah, it's already difficult to play for white.
Yes, I mean, went something very wrong.
Yeah. He also had the possibility to play queen takes f2, and after queen takes d3, there's perpetual, like we know all. But okay, he played on. Maybe also wanted to go for the win here, changing queens. Now a2 is hanging, but you can't play a3 because of knight b3, and d2 is the next move to win the game. So he has to give up his pawn. King g1 now. Okay.
I like the way, if I watch some games from, I don't know, some students or something, from my students, then I like that every game, it's not important how sharp it was in the middle game, every game lands in an end game. I don't know, I like this.
You have always something
down,
to analyze.
then the rook up, then the queen down, mate in 4. In the end, it's an endgame with a pawn up.
Yeah, it's very often. So now he played King G1 to activate his king, but I like the idea of g5 here. G4, sorry. I've written it here in the chat. Double idea to build a pass pawn, for example h5, and also activate the king. I'd like that idea. For example, king f7, and now the king is going in here. Next move f4, and white should be better here. So g4, yeah, very strong move, I think. Okay. But instead, I already said, play king g1, f3, and b3. b3 is awful. Instead, he should activate his king. b3, there's a problem that the black king has now the spot on c3 to go in.
Yes.
And if you just stay on b2, I think black won't do anything. So okay, b3.
Yeah, I think the idea of b3 is that they wanted to prevent c4 from black.
Oh, that's right. But I don't think that c4 after king e3, for example. c4 should not be. Okay, yeah, but c3 never is possible because of king takes c3 later. So
yeah, I think that was what white was worried about. But the problem is that b3 just has a bigger problem as a move.
Here the winning turn for black could be a5, a4, and then play knight c3.
And then
threatening knight d1 check and win the b pawn. And if you take a3 and the pawn is
you're
unstoppable.
Right. Here you also see that black somehow has some plans, maybe also knight b4, knight c2 check, but most importantly, white has to try to also build a passed pawn.
Yes,
that's why.
I mean, white has to go for counterplay.
That's why here in this position, another time go here once again. g4 is that much stronger because it helps to build a passed pawn with h4, h5. And I also activate the king. That's the doubled force, I thought. Okay, if you play king e3, you also can build a passed pawn, and this should be equal. Maybe it's a little bit better for white, but okay. I'm not so sure about that, but okay. Let's just say that g4 would have been better because of the possibility to build a passed pawn here. Okay, like I said, he played b3. And black played a5. Once again, like I said, king d4 was just possible. I've said this line here, and now you see, okay, the black passed pawn is on d3, and the whites, what do they do here? On h4, okay, you try to build a passed pawn, but it's just on the 4th rank, so this has to be winning for black, and it is. Knight c3, next move d2.
Yeah, but it's important to not play d2, because it gives white the chance to give up the knight for this dangerous d pawn, because then the h pawn is faster than the a or the c pawn.
Yeah, I also think this could also be winning, but okay, you said it. It's much more easier to play knight c3 and not.
I mean, in the game, in a practical game, if I think, okay, I have knight c3, I'm confident. But if I have to calculate the position after d2, knight takes, king takes, I would be yeah,
very disappointed. Okay, he didn't play king d4, played a5, and now white again should be fine here with king e3, but is in some trouble now. So okay, maybe it's not fine. Let's see. G4, G5, and
Yeah, maybe it was better to play h4 with white, right? To prevent this g5 move.
Yes, I think.
Maybe G5 is not that bad if you can play F4 directly. So
yeah, but I mean that's annoying.
Yeah, you're right. From a technical way, that's better to play H4 and then G5 to not, like you said, not give him like the opportunity to play G5. But okay, now I see a positive way. He now seems to understand the position and to say, okay, now I have to build a passed pawn here. But okay, like you said, G4 is probably the wrong way to go. G5, and now he's playing knight e4, and like written here, white's playing this position too slow. He's trying okay now to win the pawn, then push, but he should go immediately for the passed pawn. For example, like I said, f4 takes, and then g5.
How is this to
Evaluate? This should be drawn. Yeah.
Okay.
Black can try to push his d pawn, but white always has some counterplay.
Yes.
Okay, but in the game, like I said, this should be too slow here. I think the computer says here that's the last chance to stay in the game, to play knight e4 check. But from a human point of view, that's b takes c4 is the normal move to do. And
I mean, it seems hard to believe that white can defend this, because now with the a pawn, this is a general thing to be aware of. If you have the edge pawn against the knight, the edge pawn is very good. In most positions, you rather want to have a pawn in the middle, but in this, if you have the knights, then the edge pawn is very strong because the knight cannot stop it alone.
yeah,
it's very difficult because the knight just runs out of space. If you want to block it, you really have to be able to move the knight to either side of the pawn, but with the edge pawn there is only one side from which you can attack it. So if you don't capture it immediately, you can't really stop it anymore.
and another point is that you have here 3 pawns against 1, and these 2 pawns on h3 are worthless. So okay, but it's not that clear. I want to say it. It's very close, but it's winning for black. King d2, and now king b3. I like this endgame. I love it. Because now you go, as black, you go into an endgame with the pawn down and still are winning this.
But we have to say it's only like this because white played d4 instead of h4.
Yeah.
That what Kudam said is really important, that white should try to generate a passed pawn without get a blockade.
Here g4, g5. And now he's got the last chance to get this blockade destroyed, but yeah, didn't take it, so later he got punished. King d2 sees that the endgame is lost, and now that's incredible. G5, and now h3 just winning. Not winning. This is a draw. Sorry. h3, this is a draw. Because both sides are cleaning up. g8 with a check, that's important. So maybe, I didn't manage this. Maybe it's important for the black not to go to b3. Could it be? Maybe it's
But
important.
then you don't have. But if you go to b4, if I play now f4, h4.
Okay, when we play the same line here, queen up, this should be winning. I can't imagine any other outcome. You have to go.
Yes, yes.
And now d2, this has to be.
Yes, of course, it's winning.
So, okay, maybe king b4, king b3 is a mistake. But okay, I don't say this is a mistake. You cannot do that. I haven't seen it at all. Okay, and now when I analyzed this game, I thought, hey, what's happening here? Knight e2, losing. King takes d3 is now losing for white. So knight e2, the pawn is just going through. That's what's happening here? What's happening here? Okay, you just cannot stop this pawn. And yeah. But white.
And I mean, you have to say both players had few minutes.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
3 against 2. I mean, it should be. I mean, like in the positions in the critical situations before. Here, you should know that if now you don't spend your time, you won't have to spend it.
Yeah.
Then why don't spend? I mean.
Yeah, and that's the first move I'm thinking of, d6, and not to take on d3. But okay, I think the white player knows now that this was not that good. King takes d3, and yeah, now that's simply winning. I've written it. Black's playing this one perfectly, and yeah, that's mate.
And in the end, they have 8 minutes. Incredible with this increment.
Incredible game. That's.
Okay.
I said it, a game of ups and downs, and
Yeah, okay, like every blitz and rapid game.
yeah, you're right.